if you are in an organization where you are being bullied, you are being discriminated, very poor working conditions, you can actually leave without paying a dime. So maybe you were desperate to move to the UK, probably because maybe your IELTS was expiring, or because let's say you're from a red list country and then every employer you contact in the UK tells you that they cannot recruit you because you're from a red list country, blah, blah, blah. So the first job contract that you came across, you were so desperate and then you signed the contract without actually understanding what everything you were signing meant. And this contract had a repayment clause of, let's say, £10,000. You get to the UK, you start working, and then you realize how horrible it is. You're getting into trouble for the least things that you do. Probably the manager is not the best. Probably there's racism, there's discrimination. You're not vibing with your colleagues. The whole place is hell. You want to leave because you've gotten better offers in the UK. However, you have to pay £10,000 before you leave. And now you're stuck at that bad job. If that is your situation, or if you're in a situation similar, I have some news for you. Okay, so stay tuned. Do not skip. Stop that. Before I go into the offer or the good news that I have for people like you, let's talk about the legalities of it. Is it legal for employers to take money from you when you're leaving? Okay, should they even ask for money when you're leaving? Actually, it is. It is legal, but there are some things that employer or the company should follow. And I'm going to brush through so that if you're now coming and then you've now gotten your employment contract, you have to check the employment contract to see that it is in line with what I'm about to share with you today before you append your signature. Because remember, if you append your signature on a contract, you are legally bound to honor your side of the contract. So you know that we have what we call Code of Practice for International Recruitment of Health and Social Care Personnel. Okay, so this document, it's for people that want to come to the UK to work in the health sector in the UK. You have to follow this Code of Practice. It's for health institutions like the NHS and all the care homes in the UK that recruit internationally trained professionals. All these three bodies are supposed to follow the Code of Practice. And there's a section that talks about repayment clauses. So like I said, it is legal for the company to ask you to repay some amount of money, but there are some things that you need to understand first. So let me go over. I'll leave a link to this document in the description so you can, click on it and read it for yourself. Okay. When you click on it, you have to scroll down to the part that talks about repayment. And let me read it to you guys. So it says that recruiters, contracting bodies, and employers must observe fair and just contractual practices in the employment of international health and care personnel. It says, on making the job offer, health and social care employers, recruitment organizations, agencies, collaborations, and contracting bodies should provide candidates with the exact terms of the contract under which they will be working to enable the candidate to make an informed decision before accepting the job. So you, whatever job you're signing, let's say that if they say you're going to be on permanent night shift, when you come here and they say they're changing it, you have the right to refuse because what you signed said permanent night shift. Okay, so they have the right to make you know the exact things that you'll be doing when you come here so that you can make an informed decision. It says changes to an employment contract terms and conditions from those originally agreed upon in the signed formal contract must not be made without prior signed consent of the health and social care personnel. So if you signed something before you left the shores of your country, then you come here and they're telling you that no, they are making changes, they have to do this without letting you know, that is also not right. They are in breach of the Code of Practice of International Recruitment. Any element of the contract that may differ before and after professional registration, such as salary, repayment clauses, incentives, and reclaim of advances, must be clearly explained in writing before an offer of work is made. This applies regardless of when the formal contract is issued. So if there's something that should differ, let's say you are coming to work as a band 4 nurse and then after OSCE, they change your contract to a nurse's offer, all the working conditions and the salary and everything before you get upgraded to become band 5 should all be stated and should be clear, and you should be in the know. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but I need to say this. So this video is proudly sponsored by Lemfi. Does it sound familiar? Yes. Lemonade Finance is no more Lemonade Finance, it's now Lemfi. Same old goodness, but this time even much better. So Lemfi is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK, Canada to 10 different African countries. Talking about Ghana, talking about Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Benin, at no charge at all, no transfer charge. You can send money using Lemfi, whether you use an Android or whether you use an iOS. Just use the link in the description, okay? And for your first transfer above £100, if you use the referral code Nanelle or you use the referral link in the description, you're going to get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. So if you send £100, you're going to get £10 back. If you send £200, you're going to get £20 back, but it's capped at £50, okay? Lemfi has the best rates on the market. This is not even a debate. Like, ask everybody, ask around. Best rates ever. Don't believe me? Just give it a try, okay? Ever since I discovered it, that's what myself, my family, and all my friends have been using ever since we discovered it. Make your first transfer now, okay? Lemfi is so reliable. Lemfi is so convenient, and Lemfi is the best transfer app on the market, honestly. Thank you so much, Lemfi, for sponsoring today's video. It says recruiting organizations must ensure that the health and well-being of the health and social care personnel. An employment contract must not be signed under duress or because of undue influence or coercion. You should not be forced to sign. You should be given ample time to read everything yourself and sign. Those that come to tell you that you have to sign immediately because they are processing whatever, no, it's a red flag. You need to look at it twice, you know. Take your time, go over before you sign. Now let's talk about the juicy part. Any repayment clause included in an employment contract must abide by the 4 principles of transparency: proportionate, cost, timing, and flexibility. So repayment is legal. However, it should abide by the 4 principles of transparency, proportionate, cost, timing, and flexibility. So with the transparency, they're just talking about the fact that the employer should let you know exactly what you'll be paying for. It should be explained in full to the candidate before the job is accepted, and they should give you an itemized list of costs to be reclaimed to show you the amount that has been determined. So let's say they can't just come to you to say, when you leave us, you're paying £10,000. They should let you know, 1, your visa and your flight cost £1,000. 2, the accommodation we gave you the first 3 months cost £2,000. 3, the OSCE training cost this. They should list everything with the cost. They should be transparent, let you know. Another thing is that it should only be genuine and evidenced and auditable expenses. So they can't just say something that you yourself, it's new to you. They can't just mention a huge figure and say it's for whatever, maybe OSCE training, but they never even gave you OSCE training. They should also let you know how you're going to pay that amount, okay? How they're going to take that amount. Are they going to take it from your salary every month, or are they going to let you do a bank transfer? Because payment of cash is not accepted. It should be transparent. They want to see a digital track of where the money is from and where it's going. So if they say when you come you pay cash, no. If they say it's a bank transfer, fine. If they say they're taking from your salary, fine. And then also, confirmation must be sought that the health and social care personnel did not contribute towards the cost or expenses being reclaimed prior to their arrival in the UK. So they cannot tell you that you'll be paying for your flight and your whatever. Meanwhile, you paid for your own flight. They cannot tell you that the amount you'll be repaying if you should leave them includes your accommodation. Meanwhile, when you came, they didn't give you accommodation. No, you should not have contributed to that amount that they are taking from you. If they do that, you can take legal action against them. And then when we come to the proportionate cost as well, guys, listen, they said that 1, the cost must include only those expenses met by the employer on behalf of the health and social care personnel. These include, but are not limited to, relocation expenses, visa fees, and regulatory exam fees. Now, the exciting part and the most interesting part that I want you to take your time and listen, it says, costs that the employer is liable to pay as part of the recruitment process must not be reclaimed from the health and social care personnel. These include, but are not limited to, the agency fee, immigration skills charge, sponsor license fee, certificate of sponsorship, cost of the interview process. Expense costs must not incur any interest on the amounts reclaimed, and the employer should give the health and social care personnel the option to repay the cost or expenses through a monthly repayment plan. You are not supposed to repay the sponsor license fee. You are not supposed to pay the immigration skills charge. You are not supposed to repay agency fee. You are not supposed to pay any money for the interview process. You are not supposed to pay. If they include this in their contract, you can take legal action against them. Let's say you did not know, so you signed it anyways. This is the code of practice, okay, that we all should follow. And the amount that they're giving you, they cannot tell you that it's been 12 months, so now it has incurred interest. They cannot tell you that as well. And they should also allow you to pay over a period of time. They should not take that whole money at a go, right? Yes, guys, the 4 principles. We've spoken about transparency, we've spoken about proportionate. Now let's go to timing, and then we'll talk about flexibility as well. So now with timing, this is also quite important. Listen, it says that a repayment schedule must be provided and rechargeable costs must taper downwards with time. For example, over a 3-year period. An example is set out below. no. So let's say your contract is a 3-year contract, okay? They have to say that if you're leaving, there's an example, within 0 to 12 months, you will be charged 100% of the total itemized expenses. Remember, we said that they should be transparent. They should list out all the things that they paid for, itemize all the costs, and tell you the total. So let's say they said they pay for your accommodation, blah, 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 everything is up to £10,000. But if you're leaving within 13 to 24 months, you can be charged only 50% of the total itemized expenses, okay? So as you work for them for longer, they should reduce the cost. So the total cost must taper downwards with time. So let me give you an example of my personal relocation package. I'm always sharing my private stuff here. That's how much I love you guys, just so that you understand, okay? Here's an example of what a good employer does, okay? So they told me that, Nanelle, your paid one-way flight to the UK was £550. My hotel or Airbnb for the first 2 weeks of employment, up to £400 for the first month's rent in the UK, and tenant's deposit, blah, blah, blah. At the end of successfully completing contract period, they are going to pay for my return flights back home. Then they also mentioned something about visa fee and health charge, OSCE training, £500. You know, they itemized the cost. And now they said that number of weeks in employment, look at that. The reimbursement will be calculated on individual basis with a maximum estimated cost of £3,110. And they are saying that if I work for the first 6 months and I leave within that period, I'll pay the entire 100%. But if I leave after 26 weeks, but within 52 weeks, that's like 12 months, I'm going to pay 70% of the total of £3,310. And if I leave after 52 weeks or within 104 weeks, that's 24 months, that's 2 years, I'm going to pay half of it, that's 50% of it, okay? And then within 36 months, 25%. So the total cost should taper down with time. This makes sense, okay? So if your contract is not like this and you're expecting boom of your amount, that's not right. Then the flexibility. Employers should be flexible about when they levy the repayment clause and consider individual circumstances. So each decision should be made on a case-by-case basis. An example of when a repayment clause should be waived could include where the health and well-being of the health and social care recruit is being adversely impacted, where the health or social care recruit leaves due to bullying, discrimination, or poor working conditions. So if you are in such an organization where you are being bullied, you are being discriminated, very poor working conditions, you can actually leave without paying a dime, and you are backed by the Code of Practice for International Recruitment. So far as you have evidence to prove that this is what's happening, you can leave without paying this amount. Yes, you can leave. And then if a health and social care recruit circumstances have changed beyond their control, either in the UK or their home country, let's say something drastically happens to you, you can decide not to pay as well. But like they said, it should be determined by case basis. And then if the health and social care recruit wishes to move roles for career progression as well, they should be flexible with the repayment and all that. So guys, this is it, okay? Now, all I'm saying is that if for any reason you find yourself in such a situation, but you can't even fight for yourself anymore, RCN has got you, okay? So RCN posted this on their Facebook page not long ago, and guys, let me read it for you. The RCN is concerned by reports for some internationally educated members that their employment contracts contain unfair repayment clauses. These clauses may be used to pressure staff to stay in exploitative working conditions. Usually, I've realized that most people in very terrible working conditions that have huge repayment clauses are usually the private sector. You hardly find this in NHS. No, they don't do that. We have heard some members have been asked to repay fees as high as £14,000 when trying to leave their employment contract early. Members have reported that employers have made threats to deportation and referrals to NMC to try to force them into paying these fees. This isn't okay, and the RCN would like to talk to members who have experienced these types of practices from their employer. You will remain anonymous. So RCN is saying that if you are their member and you're going through this, let's say your employer has threatened you that if you're leaving, you have to pay £14,000, and if you don't, they are threatening you with deportation, they are threatening you with referral to NMC. And usually for internationally trained nurses, when we hear referral to NMC, we get scared. So you just stay like that, timid. No, we don't do that anymore. RCN is here for you. If you don't know what RCN is Royal College of Nursing, okay? So it's an organization, and if you're a member, you pay something, little every month. And then what they do is they can represent you if you have any disciplinary action or hearing against you, or if you have any legal action against you as a health professional. You can join them if you're a nurse, you can join them if you're a healthcare assistant. And they also provide educational materials for you to, upgrade yourself. They fight for our rights, advocate for us. Like the recent pay increments for our brothers and sisters in the NHS, RCN was part of this. So that's what RCN does. This video is not sponsored by them. However, they want to let you know that they are willing to help people with such situations with terrible repayment clauses. And I'm going to leave a link to their Facebook page here and all the contact details to contact RCN if you are in this situation, okay? So help is very close by. There are lots of people in such situations, okay? But we don't know our rights, so we find ourselves wanting. RCN has got you, and that's the message I have for you today. All the best.